The ballots are cast. Your votes now being counted.
As two leaders with long political histories ask for another chance to lead this province.
My name is Rachel Notley, and I am running to be your premier.
So let's go out and knock some doors and win this.
After 29 days of promises and political punches.
You want to fight with Ottawa. You want to fight with the media. You want to fight, frankly, with your former self.
She doesn't want to run on her record. And the reason she doesn't want to run on her record is it was an absolute disaster.
We finally arrived at this moment. This is Decision Alberta. Good evening, I'm Scott Roberts from Global Edmonton.
And I'm Linda Olson from Global Calgary. Welcome to our special province-wide election coverage, Decision Alberta.
It has been a neck-and-neck race between the two leaders trying to turn the page on their political legacies, but tonight it is Albertans who will have the final say on whether it will be Danielle Smith and the UCP or Rachel Notley and the NDP forming government.
The polls have just closed, and we are expecting the first results in the next 10 to 15 minutes.
And you can count on us to bring you all the results and analysis wherever you're watching or listening. We are following the developments as they happen from party headquarters to key ridings.
Our coverage tonight spans the province and across all platforms, on television, on Chorus Radio, and on globalnews.ca.
As we look forward to tonight's results, let's take a look back at how we got to this head-to-head battle. In the right corner, UCP leader Danielle Smith, and on the left, NDP leader Rachel Notley. Let's start with Smith, who took her first run at the premier's job back in 2012 as leader of the Wild Rose Party. For a time, the polls looked good, but she suffered a crushing defeat to the PC's Alison Redford.
Well, folks, tonight we found out that change might take a little longer than we thought.
2 years later, a political shocker with Smith crossing the floor to join the Progressive Conservatives, a party that she had sparred with for years. But the move was actually a blow to her own political career. Months later, she lost her own riding nomination and bowed out of politics for the time being.
We got Barry on the line. Barry, go ahead. Your thoughts today.
She pivoted to talk radio instead and stayed in broadcasting until 2021 when she left Chorus Entertainment, the parent company of Global News. It wasn't long until she signaled her desire to jump back into the political ring, and the door swung wide open in May 2022 when Jason Kenney announced he would step down as UCP leader. And in October,
I'm back!
Smith won the job, setting up her next chance to ask voters for a mandate. So, how did Rachel Notley get here? Well, she was first elected as an MLA in 2008. 6 years later, she'd become the party leader, teeing up one of the most stunning election results in Alberta history.
I think we might have made a little bit of history tonight.
In the May 2015 election, an orange crush swept the province, ending 44 straight years of PC majority governments, a knockout punch to the party that dominated provincial politics for decades. But it wouldn't keep them down too long. In 2019, Notley suffering defeat as the right united under Jason Kenney and the newly formed UCP. In a rare political move, Notley stayed on.
And it will be an honor to serve as the leader of Her Majesty's loyal opposition.
And is now the only Alberta premier to ever take another run at the job after being defeated. And it's all setting up a head-to-head matchup between two experienced women looking for that magic number of 44 seats in the legislature to claim victory tonight.
The leaders' political track records have been a hot topic this election, and a main issue for voters has been trust. Over the last month, both Rachel Notley and Danielle Smith have been trying to earn back the confidence of voters, promising their party has the best plan to address health care, affordability, and strengthen the economy.
Let's check in on the campaign headquarters now, where party faithful will be gathering to watch those results tonight. Our Joel Seneck is with Chorus Radio host Rob Breckenridge at UCP headquarters in Calgary.
Joel, what's the mood like there tonight?
Well, the mood, Linda, so far, still pretty relaxed. The doors are now open. Some people have come in. Some of the seats are starting to fill up behind Rob and I. You know, 4 years ago, this headquarters, it was a party, Rob, a celebration. What do the UCP need to do tonight to have that same party?
Yeah, to use some bad puns here, we're at the Big Four. It's going to be a big 4 hours to get to the Big Four, the 44-seat majority. They got 23 of the 26 seats in Calgary, the UCP does. They know they're going to lose some of those seats. The question is, how much can they afford to lose? How big do those NDP gains need to be? You know, the experts say the NDP are going to have to.
Welcome back to Decision Alberta, Global's province-wide election coverage.
We are coming to you on a number of different platforms tonight on television, Chorus Radio, and also online as we continue to watch these results slowly come in. UCP leading at 43 ridings right now, the NDP with 31. But again, very few results have actually come in from the polls across the province. You can see on the side of your screen, depending on which riding you live in, some are reporting hundreds of votes, some are reporting zero, some are reporting just one vote.
Back to the legislature.
And you're obviously, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just wonderful to see that's recognized.
And you're obviously very confident with how things will go in your riding. You were out in a different riding today that's a little bit closer, is expected to be closer.
Yeah, and the wildfire is not just a provincial story. The whole country was watching, and it was just terrible to watch some of the destruction, some of the pain that people were suffering. And really, when we're talking about the wildfire ridings, this is the province of Alberta. You've got Edmonton right here, and really, sort of if you drew a circle as I'm doing here, maybe that's a little big, but you sort of going through there. And now I want to zoom in on one riding, and that is Yellowhead County. Remember, the mayor of Yellowhead County said, stop the election because of the fires, but we didn't stop the election. What's going on right now in West Yellowhead? My goodness, this is a shocking result. If this holds, Fred Kreiner, the new Democrat, has 1,562 votes. We're getting into real vote territory here, but that's just a 37-vote lead over the UCP's Martin Long. So again, this is West Yellowhead. This is normally solid Conservative territory, federally or provincially. Did the wildfires factor in here? Because we did hear some concern.
So,
good point. That's a good point.
Just a little levity
That's
here.
That's a dinner table discussion, isn't it?
So we, you know, the votes are still low, so we can see. But we're going to show you a couple of ties, right? We're going to start with Calgary Curry. Nicholas Milliken, a minister, tied one vote with Janet Aramenko.
Yeah, here's a look at Calgary Elbow. 1-1 again, as you can see. Chris Davis there with the UCP and Samir Kayande with the NDP. Just one vote apiece.
And this is Calgary West. We had Mike Ellis on with Joel Senek just a little while ago, and right now the NDP and Green, according to these numbers, are coming in. So we want to give you a sense of what we're seeing when it comes to the popular vote. Here's a look province-wide. Right now, UCP 53% of the vote, 43.2 for the NDP, 3.7 for others. So we'll dig a little bit deeper into that as well.
Here's a look at the city of Edmonton. Not a surprise here, as Edmonton has historically been an orange city, 61.2% for the New Democrats.
And let's look at Calgary, 51.9% for the UCP. That is a bit closer, 42.5% for the NDP, 5.7% for other. Could be Alberta Party, we're not sure.
And here's the story. Outside of the big cities, 68.9% for the UCP, 27.1% of the vote for the NDP.
We're going to go to Joel Senek now, who
just might squeak through if you're a United Conservative. They're leading in 51 right now. And go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, thanks very much, David. Some breaking news here as Global News is projecting the first actual elected MLA of the night, and this is happening in Peace River. Global News is projecting that Dan Williams will be elected in that riding and heading to the Alberta legislature.
And we can see there are quite a few more votes there.
It's a 217-vote lead. That's pretty good on 916 votes over Sarah El-Maligi of the New Democrats. So that's Banff Kananaskis, and I think if I go this way, you can see this. We've had lots of lead changes here. It started with the NDP and then bound and bound and bound. So there we go.
David will step in and let you look at the screen here. We have Brooks Medicine Hat, Danielle Smith, Global News projecting has been elected with 75.6% of the vote over Gwendolyn Dirk.
And remember, she won the by-election with only about 50% of the vote.
That's right.
So I think Brooks Medicine Hat voters going, okay, you're the real deal. We'll give it to you with 75%.
All right, there you go. Global News projecting Danielle Smith will win her seat once again in Brooks medicine hat. Let's check in as well on your other leader, Edmonton Strathcona. You're seeing, again, it's very early results here, but Rachel Notley with a lead of 44 votes. Again, early numbers, 74.4% of the vote at this point over the UCP candidate there.
So still early, but right now we have 3 UCP projected elected. So we're going to go to Joel Senek, who
Kona Sherwood Park that they did not. And so those are some of the problems.
We're going to leave it there. There's a buzz in the room right now. We can certainly feel it. Linda and Scott, we will throw it back to you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dallas. And we do have breaking news.
And this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Here is your breaking news. Global News is projecting the United Conservative Party will form the next government, and it will be a majority government.
We now know that Danielle Smith will lead the province, making her the 3rd female premier in Alberta's history.
And here is a live look right now as they are getting the news. At least some of the people there at UCP headquarters in Calgary. Big cheer from the crowd, as you can see. Hopefully they're watching us on Global News here, and they're just disseminating that news among the crowd there with news of the party's victory tonight. There you go.
Yeah,
a lot of happy faces in that building tonight. All right, let's go live now to UCP headquarters in Calgary for some reaction to this win.
All right, Joel, no word yet if Danielle Smith is coming in a big blue truck, but I'm sure we will be seeing her come in shortly for an acceptance speech.
Yeah, we're going to wait and see. You heard the crowd cheer behind us. We're calling it majority UCP government. Rob Breckenridge, Chorus Radio host. What's your takeaway here?
Yeah, it was certainly leaning in this direction for a while. Even, we just had the early results. Things started to trickle in. We weren't seeing a lot of change, so it certainly seemed to be building to this.
Be close.
Hold that thought for 1 second. We're going to restart the 8 o'clock show. Here we go.
CTV News special presentation, Alberta Election 2023.
And welcome back. I'm Erin Isfeld, and if you're just joining us here tonight, we will be with you throughout the night, bringing you the latest election results from here in Edmonton and across the province. It is one of those nights. Election 2023, the 31st election here in Alberta. The polls have just closed, and we will be getting some of those results any minute now. A reminder about the information that you will be seeing tonight on your screen. A side panel will be rotating throughout the night, displaying results for individual ridings. A check mark means that CTV News has declared a winner there, and at the bottom of your screen, you will see the seat tally as it evolves. Also tonight, we have reporters across Alberta getting reaction to the results as they come in, and that includes at UCP headquarters in Calgary and NDP headquarters here in Edmonton, as well as some of the key battleground ridings around Edmonton where the UCP need to hang on to those seats to stop the NDP from making gains. Well, the team that we have here on our election desk tonight, they've been great so far. In our pregame show, we've got political strategist John Brennan and former legislative reporter turned strategist with Crestview Strategy, Tom Vernon. And with our Jeff Hastings, 2 political insiders, former Progressive Conservative Cabinet Minister Doug Griffiths and former NDP Cabinet Minister Marg McQuaig Boyd. And our Carmen Leibel is hosting our election lounge here tonight, speaking with some of Edmonton's most engaged community leaders to give us their take tonight on some of the issues heard at the doors this campaign and what direction they would like to see a new government take. Well, here's where we stood when the election was called. The UCP held 60 seats, 2 were vacant, left open by former Premier Jason Kenney and high-profile Cabinet Minister Doug Schweitzer. The NDP held 23 seats, and there were 2 independents. Now, here's what parties will be aiming for tonight. 44 is the magic number of seats needed to win a majority, and that is out of a possible 87 seats in the Alberta legislature. All right, a very exciting evening here tonight. Certainly something that is going to be looked at very closely down in Calgary. A lot of thank you so much. We're going to talk a little bit about gains and no gains. Certainly, as we sort of see here, it's a broken record. We've been talking about this Edmonton donut, the Calgary factor. You know, we've seen how this hasn't really materialized for the NDP here tonight, and that is why, at this point, we are ready here at CTV to call this a united Conservative majority here tonight. This is something that obviously, as you've seen the numbers come in through the evening, it certainly has been leaning towards that direction. We haven't seen those NDP gains in and around the donut area here of Edmonton. We've seen one of those seats go NDP, and certainly not enough of them in Calgary. So here's where we're at this moment. Alberta leading and elected. 52 seats for the UCP, 35 for the NDP. Again, the UCP wins a majority government. Heading back into the legislature will be Premier-elect Danielle Smith. We're going to head down now to UCP headquarters. Jeremy Thompson standing by. I can hear the reaction. I hope you can still hear me there, Jed, as we are now calling this election an UCP majority.
Yeah. Absolutely, Aaron. I mean, maybe I'll just step aside here and let you have a look and listen here. So obviously a lot of happy UCP supporters here in this room now tonight, and one.
The following is a CTV News Calgary special presentation.
The United Conservative Party is running on our record of success and economic growth because we are proud of it.
This election is about leadership and it's about trust. You deserve better.
My top priority is affordability.
Free medical, right? Like free healthcare.
Job opportunities in the future.
I'm a university guy, so trying to get those tuition fees down.
You're watching CTV News Calgary. Alberta Election 2023.
It is 8 o'clock and the polls are now closed. Albertans have made their choice. Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm Tara Nelson. Welcome to all of our Alberta viewers right across Canada on CTV News Channel and of course online at ctvnewscalgary.ca. We are expecting a very close race tonight between the governing United Conservative Party led by Premier Danielle Smith and the New Democrats and former Premier Rachel Notley. We know that for one of them tonight will mark a political comeback. We also know that this is the key battleground, and the road to the Alberta legislature goes through Calgary. Guiding us through it all tonight, a top-notch panel of political experts. We have Gary Marr with us, going back to the Ralph Klein days where he was a Tory cabinet minister. He is now president of the Canada West Foundation. Gary, thank you for being here. Laurie Williams is associate professor of political science at Mount Royal University. Laurie, thank you. And Mark Henry, the president of Think HQ Public Affairs here in Calgary. We've also got Vashti Capello. She's the CTV chief political correspondent, and she will be with us too. Now, we will bring you results as they come in, and here's how you'll be able to see them. So on the bottom of your screen, as you see there below me, you'll see the party standings. So that's who's leading and who's elected. And then on the right-hand side of your screen, you're going to see the results from all the ridings as we get them. So if you don't see your riding right away, just stay with us because we'll be cycling through them all evening, so it will come up again very shortly. We have a team of reporters right across the province tonight watching all the developments. They will bring us the important stories as they unfold. We're at party headquarters in Calgary and in Edmonton. We're at polling stations and we have crews on the road across southern Alberta. We are live on the web. You can follow us also on Twitter at #CTVElection. Our Ian White is, of course, with us too. So, Ian, why don't you set the table for us? How does the legislature look right now?
Okay, well, the speeches have been made. The platforms have been presented. All we have to do is to count the votes. Let's take a look at what we're aiming for tonight. This is 44 ridings. That would form a majority government in the Alberta legislature. But let's take a look first at the map of Alberta. The 87 ridings that form the Alberta legislature, they're all gray right now, but as the votes come in, as they're counted, these will change color. Let's show this in a slightly different perspective for you. This is what we call our CTV power grid. Going into this election in the Metro Edmonton area, it was dominated by the NDP with 3 UCP ridings. It's almost a mirror image down in Calgary with 3 NDP ridings. The rest are UCP. All of Northern Alberta going into the election was dominated by UCP MLAs, and in Southern Alberta it was all UCP MLAs except for one, and that was Shannon Phillips in Lethbridge West. But once again, a reminder, we're starting from scratch tonight with those 87 ridings. 44 seats are needed to form a majority government.
All right, Ian, thank you. Let's take a look at the Calgary map. Of course, there are 26 ridings in Calgary. Of those ridings, it's all blank now. Nothing has happened yet, but we can tell you that there were 3 NDP ridings and there are 23 UCP ridings going into this. The NDP, if they want to make any inroads tonight, they've certainly got to pick up a few now to talk about these slow results, Ian.
Indeed, Tara, you raise a very good point. Like just going through all those Calgary ridings, and in some of them, 2 votes are in, 2 for the entirety of the election thus far. We're almost 55 minutes into this. There have been some Alberta elections where a majority government was called 12 minutes after 8 o'clock. Obviously, tonight is a much different story. It's a much more competitive picture. We expect the night to go on longer anyways, but there does seem to be some sort of issue with the counting or the announcing of the votes. But there are some changes that are worth having a look at here. Let's take a look at the map here. It shows that right now the UCP is leading and elected in 44 constituencies, the NDP leading and elected in 30.
Still confident in what he's seeing. Thanks so much.
All right, Jordan, thank you. Well, let's take a look at some of the results that are coming in there, slowly coming into us this evening, but here's a big one. CTV declares Danielle Smith has retaken her seat of Brooks Medicine Hat. She, of course, won that in a by-election in the fall, and she has been re-elected as the UCP incumbent in Brooks Medicine Hat. About half of the voting locations reporting there, which is more than in some areas. The results are very slow to come in tonight, but look at your ticker on the bottom there. UCP leading or elected in 53 ridings, the NDP leading or elected in 32 is riding. And let's go up the road just a little bit to Edmonton Strathcona. Rachel Notley re-elected, of course, NDP leader. She has been in the legislature the longest now. She's the longest sitting MLA in the legislature in Alberta. Rachel Notley re-elected in Edmonton Strathcona tonight. Tim Brooke is in Edmonton tonight at the NDP headquarters. That's not going to be a surprise to them, Tim. I'm sure they knew their leader was going to be re-elected, but obviously exciting news all the same. I'm going to interrupt you there, Mark. I'd like everyone to stand by just for a moment. We have breaking news. CTV News is making a major call. There you go. The CTV News decision desk is projecting a united Conservative majority government. Danielle Smith will stay in the Premier's office with the majority. Let's take a quick look at a breakdown of the numbers as they stand right now. So the United Conservative Party leading or elected in 52 ridings, and currently the NDP leading or elected in 35 ridings. So potential seat change either way of 11 ridings. So the UCP has lost some seats. The NDP has picked up those seats. We have no other party who has picked up any seats so far this evening, and probably not anticipated. You're looking live at the UCP headquarters at the Big Four building. They are just getting the news. Of course, a big celebration there tonight. So let's go to our Jordan Canagan. He's in the middle of it all tonight. Jordan.
This reaction is because that call is coming live as we see it right now, and this crowd was loud already before this. It just got a whole lot louder as CTV declares that the United Conservative Party has won a majority again.
Final words from our pollster and analyst, Janet Brown. The stakes tonight, Janet.
The stakes are high, and I think what's important for people to realize is there's three very distinct political cultures in Alberta. There's Calgary,
we'll watch them all play out
the rest of them.
In minutes from now. Your vote about to be counted.
Elections are always about leadership. Who has the ideas, the plan, and the passion to make things better?
Danielle Smith is she's just new. I'm going to give her a chance.
I am a fan of Rachel Notley.
And in a crisis, leadership matters.
We didn't know if we was going to have a home to come back to.
When disaster happens, Albertans pull together, even those you might not expect.
There's going to be a hard campaign that we still have to do, but I think these next few days we're just wanting to make sure that Albertans know that the leadership is unified and making sure that they get the supports they need.
But even record wildfires can't burn off the political polarization at a critical time for this province's future.
Many Albertans are honestly just a little bit exhausted by all the drama that we've had over the last 4 years through the UCP and the last 6 months under Danielle Smith.
The reason she doesn't want to run on her record is it was an absolute disaster.
Tonight, Albertans choose the leader they want.
And good evening. I'm Rob Brown. Welcome to CBC Alberta's special provincial election coverage from wherever and however you're watching across Canada. The polls have just closed here in Alberta. The scoreboard at the bottom of your screen, you know the drill. It's going to tell the story. It will project a seat count for each party tonight, and the key number on that graphic, you see it there at the top. 44 seats is what a party needs to form a majority government in the province of Alberta. That graphic is also constantly cycling through results from each of the 87 ridings. As soon as we get them, you're going to see your riding pop up, and it's going to repeat over and over again every 7 minutes or so. So if you're looking for the riding, it will pop up. Stay with us. I also want to let you know that we have a separate feed on CBC Gem with simultaneous American Sign Language interpretation tonight. All right, there's the housekeeping out of the way, the facts, the figures. But we're also going to make sure you're able to pull all that raw data that comes in into context. And for that, Nancy Carlson is joining us tonight. You're going to be speaking with people right across the province. You're going to have some special guests, Nancy.
Yes, we have our hands full here in this second studio. So we're going to be talking to people who know about party strategy, where winning is everything. So we are going to hear from mayors bringing a perspective from outside the big cities. We also have political experts. So welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm so looking forward to the conversation.
Look, zoom out at a couple of metrics here that really tell the tale. And it kind of goes against what we're seeing in the scoreboard. This is share of the vote, share of the popular vote. So we have, based on the vote count that we have right in, which is about 7,000 votes, last I heard, the NDP are actually out in front. They're in a scenario right now where they're trailing even though they're winning the popular vote. And that's the line. They were expecting to lose some seats. This is expected to be the closest election, but perhaps that Alberta has ever seen. And the riding by riding fight where the knives are out is going to happen in Calgary, battleground Calgary. So both parties vying for as many votes as possible there because it could decide things tonight. You have a snapshot of what's been going on in that city.
Yes, and before we look at that snapshot, let's take a look at what it looked like in 2019 at the last vote. So this was the distribution of orange and blue, not too much orange, just 3 of the 26 ridings for the NDP. And now, this time around, this is what it's looking at with not just about 9% of the polls reporting. A lot more orange filling in, but not necessarily, again, the support for the NDP in other parts of the province that they were hoping for. Let's start at where this is looking like in particular. Calgary Bow now with Minister of Advanced Education, Dimitrios Nicolaitis, right, with a 30-vote lead over Drew Farrell, longtime city councillor in Calgary. Let's take a look at the next result in Calgary Edgemont, where Prasad Panda leading with just a slim 18 votes. But look, not many votes have actually been counted in this specific riding. So it feels bizarre at this point of the night to be saying it's early, but it is early.
Opposition votes right now coalescing around the NDP. John Roggevan, who is running in Jason Kenney's riding, we can tell you that he will not be the elected member there. A projected winner in that riding, as expected, Eric Bouchard, the UCP candidate. All right, and just reminding you that UCP leader Danielle Smith, we have projected, will be going to the legislature, and the NDP lost in that riding. And then we'll go and show you, yes, Rachel Notley, who, no surprise, will be going back to the legislature. All right, I had a couple people talking in my ear at the same time when that was going on, so I can't tell you what Jessica Ng is going to tell us about right now. It's going to be a surprise to me as much as it is to you, so surprise away, Jessica.
Okay, let's take a look at some of the rural ridings that we have been watching. We're going to take a look now at Lesser Slave Lake. No incumbent in this riding, but Scott Sinclair with the UCP holding on. Almost 300 vote difference between him and the NDP in this specific riding. Now, Banff Kananaskis, Miranda Rosen.
I'm getting word that we are getting some news from our decision desk. So, Rob, I'm just going to throw it back to you with that news.
Yeah. At long last, for many who have been waiting, we are getting closer and closer to the moment that those certainly with the UCP who've been watching that ticker come up time and again and hold steady over that 44 majority mark and then settle for the evening they've been waiting for and they've been hoping for. We are at that point now where the CBC decision desk is prepared to make the call. The UCP will hold on to power in Alberta. The United Conservative government will remain in government. So Danielle Smith will be going back to the legislature with a diminished caucus for sure. As we said earlier, still a decisive win. Yes, they went down in their seat counts, but they have a pretty healthy cushion compared to how close many expected it to be. You can see the reaction at party headquarters, some fist pumping going on. The CBC decision desk preparing to project, and we have that the UCP will govern this province for the next 4 years. Danielle Smith, who had a lot of baggage come into this campaign, and the NDP tried to make hay at every turn with it, she pulls it off. More than a decade after she first asked for a mandate from the public, first asked for them to send her to Edmonton as premier, and then saw the potential victory there as leader of the Wild Rose slip through her fingers in the dying days of that campaign. She finally has that mandate from the public. It's a new party. It's a relatively new party, only 4 years old plus a little bit in terms of bringing together the PC and the Wild Rose before that. But the blue wall has held tonight in spite of the NDP leading for years in the polls and a leader that certainly she acknowledged herself had imperfections. They hold on to power tonight. Elise Von Shield, provincial affairs reporter with CBC Calgary, is at UCP headquarters down in Calgary. We heard the cheers. It's been a while. It's been a long time coming, but this trend has been holding. Relief in the room? How would you describe it?
I don't know if you can hear the roar behind me, Rob, but everybody here is really, really, really excited about this result. This is what they were hoping for. This was, as you can hear the chants of UCP behind me, this was the test of Danielle Smith and her party and her as leader. We know that her party gave her a mandate back in the fall. The question for this election was whether the Alberta general public would agree with that and would decide to send the UCP back into the legislature to become government. That answer is here now. The CBC now projecting that the UCP will go back into government, a little bit of a diminished caucus, but still well above that 44 seats needed to form a majority government. The crowd here is really, really excited. I've actually got somebody with me who's been campaigning hard and actually was a Danielle Smith supporter in the leadership as well. So, Liam Dunn, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling ecstatic.
And what does the moment feel like as you're listening to the crowd cheer and as you're watching what's happening? You're standing in front of me with a Danielle Smith sign. How would you sum it up for people who are not here?
CityNews acknowledges that we are broadcasting on the traditional territories of Treaty 6 and Treaty 7, also home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples.
Happening tonight in Alberta.
We focused on the things that I believe Albertans really care about, the things that really matter. They didn't.
You were found to have broken the law.
And Ms. Notley had an opportunity to fix health care. She didn't.
You want to fight with Ottawa. You want to fight with the media. You want to fight, frankly, with your former self.
I know Ms. Notley likes to show grainy videos of things I said while I was on radio. And the reason she does that is she doesn't want to run on her record. And the reason she doesn't want to run on her record is it was an absolute disaster.
Turns out we already have an inside track on someone from the other side who's quite open to crossing the floor. Danielle, you got my number. Call me.
City News live election coverage starts right now, and we begin with breaking news. Good evening, I'm Melissa Duggan. Polls across Alberta officially scheduled to close at 8 p.m. We're now just moments after that cutoff, but Elections Alberta telling City News some polling stations will remain open until all those who are currently in line, they will be able to cast their ballot. It is a pivotal night for the province. 87 seats up for grabs. The number we're watching for, of course, is 44, the lowest tally needed to win the balance of power. Polls have been telling us the race is too close to call. One thing we do know for sure, Alberta is sending a woman to the Premier's office. Just which woman? That is still a mystery. A nail-biter of a contest has meant the ground game. Getting Albertans out to vote has been critical. And we are stepping up our City News ground game tonight with reporters in key spots. Let me give you a bit of a lay of the land. Courtney Theriault will be bringing us the very latest from UCP election night headquarters in Calgary, where party leader Danielle Smith is set to make an appearance tonight. Will she have something to celebrate? Over in Edmonton, Bianca Millions is standing by at the NDP HQ. Now, party leader Rachel Notley expected to hit the stage there in just hours from now, maybe even sooner. That's, of course, depending on how results roll in. Our Jillian Code is at the NDP's base in Calgary. Indications are the Calgary region is battleground central. Support here crucial to coming out on top. And popping back over to Edmonton, Carly Robinson is in the capital. Will the area go orange, as polls suggest, or will blue branch out? Here in our City News studios in Calgary, experts from across the political spectrum will help us dig through whatever is to come tonight. Strap in. Now, 4 weeks of intense campaigning, all leading to this. Thank you for joining us. So what surprises are we in store for? Please do stay tuned. Now, Courtney, what's the sense you're getting from insiders at the UCP headquarters?
Municipal councillor for Fort Saskatchewan. So she's well known. She's been a community member, entrenched in the community. So people know her. They know her name. Jackie Armstrong-Homnick's running for re-election for her second time. But we have to remember Fort Sask-Vegreville went NDP in 2015.
They need to make inroads in the, obviously in Calgary, but also in the, I call it the donut around Edmonton, the bedroom communities, suburban ridings like Strathcona, Sherwood Park, Leduc, Beaumont, Spruce Grove, St. Albert.
And we're seeing a stronger lead there too, coming in for the UCP candidate.
Yeah, and
Thanks for that, Jillian. We are getting more results coming in as the night finally is bringing us some numbers. We are seeing Danielle Smith's riding. That is Brooks Medicine Hat. It looks like the UCP candidate. She has been re-elected to her local riding. And now, probably no surprise coming to you right now. We did hear Jillian speaking with that NDP candidate, really digging into some of the controversy we've seen through Danielle Smith's time at the Alberta Legislature. And before that, a commanding lead right now. What does that tell you about Danielle Smith's appeal locally?
It has shown us that the battleground is Calgary, that the numbers are so close in so many ridings that it's simply too close to call. I think the reason for that is because Calgary, the makeup of Calgary is changing, traditionally conservative, but starting to become more progressive as time goes on. So.